picked up this bench seat about a couple weeks ago from a member on the site, and I've been using it for the last couple weeks. I ride mostly around town. My commute to work is only about 2 miles, so it's just about 10 minutes both directions. So I don't get a lot of riding in, but I've been riding it pretty much nonstop. Haven't driven any other cars the last couple weeks, so got a good feel for it. Also taken 2 or 3 road trips with it, where I've been on it for a couple hours at a time, hour at a time, half an hour at a time. And just wanted to show some of the benefits. The biggest one, well, I'll get to those benefits, but what I normally ride with is the Russell DayLong seat. This has the same seat pan as the Russell does. It's just the way the foam is set up and the width and the structure of the seat itself that makes it quite a bit different. So happy Independence Day. The biggest benefit is obviously you can move around on the seat. So the Russell, you sit about this position. And I do have the foot box instead of the peg, which I really enjoy, but I think that does change things a little bit. But basically with that Russell, you're sitting with your feet like this, so your heel is always up off the back, and you never can set it flat. And you also your back tends to want to slouch. It's nice because it gives you a lot of control on the handlebars. You're sitting close, and so you have a lot of power to turn the handlebars if you need. But you're pretty much stuck in that position. There's not really any moving back and forth or side to side with the Russell. But the bench seat, of course, when I just hop on it, I sit down what feels natural. And you can see I sit quite a bit further back. My heel is almost completely flat, and my knee is much more perpendicular there. But I don't have very long arms, so that's about as far back. I can go a little bit further back, and then I'm stretching forward to reach the handlebars. My handlebars are set pretty far back. However, I was thinking if I had a 1-inch riser or a handlebar riser, that would bring it up and back a little bit, and I could sit back even further. It is nice when you're riding because you can shift weight. When you're taking corners, it's nice to get up there and get a little bit better grip on the tank with your knees, and you can sit further forward on the tank, kind of shift that weight forward on the bike. But when you're cruising down the road, it's really nice to just be able to sit back. And you can see my foot gets flat, and on the other side too, I basically have my heel on the peg, and I can just rotate my foot down, easily hit the rear brake, and lock up the tires if I need to. You don't have to stand on it. I do have a pedal riser though that allows me to engage the brake a little bit quicker. And then there's even if you've got the throttle lock engaged and you're cruising along, you can really sit back if you need to just stretch out. You can lean backwards, but it gives you a lot of different positioning. And then, like I said, when you're in corners, you can slide up. Also, slide side to side. The seat's pretty grippy, so it doesn't really slide, but you can pick yourself up and move over. And I'll kind of show you on that Russell, it's not very much possible. So here's the difference that you can see. The bench seat and the Russell there. It definitely has more of the reclined solo seat, kind of like the police seat that a lot of people use on theirs. But these bolsters here on both sides, they give you a lot of security when you're sitting. You definitely feel like you're planted into the motorcycle, but they don't allow you to slide side to side at all, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It just prevents you from, especially in corners or around town, it's not as comfortable. It just feels more of a hindrance. And then you can see you've got this little support here, which definitely feels comfortable, but you can't really change your position once you're on the bike. That's as far forward as you're going to want to sit on it. You can see that in relation to where I was sitting on the bench seat. Also, you can see there's a big one thing here. This seat actually, this bench seat, is more comfortable to ride in on bumpier areas, and I'll try and show you why. They both have the standard post up front. If you can see that. There we go. right past the screw there is the actual post. I'll try and get under here. And then it mounts in the back on the hooks up here. But if you look, you will see that there's nothing else. So essentially it just has 3 points. The one up front, the two in the back, one on each side, and then what happens is as you hit bumps, this actually, the seat pan and the seat itself kind of flex a little bit because there's nothing in the middle there holding it up. Okay? It goes all the way to that front post. Now on the Russell, you've got where it hooks in, and you've got a rubber mount here on each side, and then you have these ones right here. Now that gives it a really nice solid feel, but when you hit a bunch of bumps, especially around town, if you don't have great roads, these actually go right to your butt, and you feel it quite a bit. Now, the other thing this bench seat does is that it sits quite a bit higher. You sit definitely, I'd say, a good 2 inches, maybe 3 up. The Russell actually sits down here. They made it so it sits along the bottom of that mounting plate, so that Russell seat kind of sits down low. This thing, you sit up on it. So I don't know if the foam needs to break in a lot on these bench seats or not. This is an older design. I think it's back from the 2000 to 2004 era. That's why it's got the stitching across. It doesn't look like the current Enduros, but the seat pan's the same. The foam might be upgraded on the newer ones. I will tell you that after an hour of riding, I was ready to be off of it. My behind was sore. You could definitely feel the points where you were sitting on. And while you could shift your weight forward and backward and change position a little, it didn't do a whole lot to relieve that pressure on your rear. Now, the Russell, they really are a day-long seat. I have ridden all day in one, and the next day I was able to get in it, and there was no soreness. I rode this bench seat up to camp. It was highway, dirt road, and in-town driving, and the next day when I went to go leave to head back, I was sore within the first 10 minutes. The day after that, I went on a ride about 30 miles south of town, and as soon as I was on the seat, within minutes, I was already sore again. So it was not fun for multi-day riding in any way, shape, or form. So I would say, well, this is a really great seat for around town, for trail riding. It was fantastic for moving weight side to side in corners. It's not a multiple day or even multi-hour seat you would want. Now, I don't have a tractor seat, so I can't tell you whether that's any better, or the 2/3 or the step-up bench seat. But on these two, great for in town, great for touring.